In the 2013 Pure Sport Side-by-Side category, Polaris's RZR 570 and 800 own riding areas with tight 50-inch wide trails, while the XP 900 and its rivals battle for supremacy of the dunes and rough high-speed trails found out west. So where does this leave the once almighty RZR S? In southern Ohio, we are surrounded by a number of off-road parks that allow Jeeps and buggies in addition to ATVs, so a majority of their trails are easily wide enough for the RZR S's 60.5-inch width. However, most of the trails are tight enough that you don't really need the explosiveness of the XP's engine, or its longer wheelbase. On paper, the RZR S looks like the perfect solution for the East Coast wide trail rider, so we decided to put it to the test where we live to find out. The RZR S is powered by Polaris's high-output 760cc inline-twin water-cooled 4-stroke engine, reporting to produce 55 horsepower. With a listed dry weight of 1,022 pounds, Polaris claims it will accelerate from 0 to 35 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds. In previous testing out west, we've had the S up to 56 miles per hour, and still gradually climbing. When you stomp the gas, the 800 feels willing with lots of torque. It gets you out of the hole quickly, which comes in handy when attacking steep climbs with little run at the bottom. There's power to spare for cruising wooded trails, which makes it a blast to race from corner to corner in the trees. There's enough power to keep things fun in wide open spaces. However, the dated pushrod engine design lacks the explosiveness of the XP's modern overhead cam engine. You can get the S to slide, but it takes a bit more timing and throttle. The S's power plant doesn't allow the same level of control over the vehicle for carrying the front end over whoops or jumps, due in part to less horsepower, but more to the fact that the S simply doesn't build RPMs as quickly as the XP. That being said, no other UTV on the market at or below this displacement slides or jumps as well as the RZR S. As the trail tightens up and gets more technical, the strong torque and smoother power delivery of the S's engine works to its advantage. It doesn't feel overwhelming in tricky situations and does a good job of taking advantage of any available traction. Polaris's automatic PVT transmission features park, reverse, and neutral, in addition to 2 forward ranges. Clutch engagement is butter smooth without feeling excessively laggy, which aids on tricky takeoffs. We found high range perfect for most trails, while low range came in handy for rock crawling and the most intimidating ascents. We'd like to see this unit come standard with engine braking, if not Polaris's active descent control. You can use the engine for braking on long descents, but it requires feathering the gas pedal to keep the PVT engaged. Shifting into low range will further help. The two-wheel drive all-wheel drive system allows you to shift from full-time two-wheel drive to all-wheel drive on the fly. In all-wheel drive mode, if you hit the gas and the rear wheels begin spinning marginally faster than the fronts, the front end locks in and begins pulling. This lets you enjoy light steering a majority of the time, while providing extra traction in the slippery spots. At 60.5 inches wide, the RZR S enjoys a notable advantage in stability compared to the 50-inch RZRs, and all of the sport utility UTVs we've tried. Even compared to the latest high-dollar machines on the market, the RZR S's stability is rock solid in corners and on off-camber trails, thanks to its adequate width and low center of gravity. At 77 inches long, the S has the same wheelbase as the 50-inch RZR. This helped keep the turning radius manageable in most situations, and we rarely had to employ a 3-point turn. With the tires protruding from the front of the machine, the RZR S can attack some pretty gnarly approach angles without dragging the front of the car. The S does an amazing job of hugging the hill on steep climbs, boosting your confidence in what's possible, then rewarding you for it. Thanks to its extra width, the RZR S is able to run 2-inch taller tires compared to the 50-inch RZRs, and gain stability at the same time. The 27-inch ITP 900XCTs come mounted on sharp-looking cast aluminum wheels. The tire's taller size, combined with longer control arms and more suspension travel, yield 2 more inches of ground clearance at 12 inches. Load down the car with 2 occupants and take a run through the rocks, and the extra 2 inches of ground clearance feels like an extra foot. We were surprised at the size of some of the rocks and logs we were able to traverse without dragging the bottom of the machine. For times when we ran out of ground clearance, the plastic skid plates are a welcomed feature, but we'd switch out to something a little tougher from the aftermarket if you plan on driving in sharp rocks. Steering on the S is responsive, but by no means twitchy. The car does a good job of going where it's pointed without ever doing anything unexpected. We found the steering to be pretty light, without the aid of electric power steering. The tires did a good job of controlling direction and getting the power to the ground, but wear quickly on hardpack, in addition to providing a buzzy ride at low to intermediate speeds. 12 inches of suspension travel at all four corners is a nice solid number, especially for the less whooped out trails on which we ride. The chassis features dual A-arms up front and a lower A-arm and large beefy upper control arm out back. While the basic model stock shocks are only preload adjustable, they are set up well for most situations. They provide a plush ride over small trail obstacles and perform admirably while picking your way through large rocks. At the other extreme of suspension performance, the shocks do a good job of resisting bottoming when landing from a few feet of air, even on imperfect landings. Rebound damping was a little bit on the fast side for whoops, although it never started bucking or swapping uncontrollably. For entry-level shocks, they work respectively well everywhere, and quite well in the typical trails we encounter in the eastern part of the country. The biggest drawback to these shocks is that they are not rebuildable. This means that if you ride your RZR regularly, you can expect to face the expense of purchasing aftermarket shocks in a couple of years. Or spend a little more now and get one of the limited edition models, which come with Fox Podium 2.0 piggyback reservoir equipped shocks stock, which are rebuildable and feature compression damping adjustment. Braking performance is superb on the S, thanks to hydraulic disc brakes at all four corners. The front brakes feature dual piston calipers, enhancing power, while steel braided brake lines increase power, improve feel, and help resist fading. Feel through the pedal is quite good. While we wouldn't call them overly sensitive, you can lock all four wheels up and stop on a dime. The cockpit on the S is well thought out, although a little bit on the small side, according to many drivers over 6 feet tall. A tilt steering wheel, plus the best designed passenger grab bar on the market with adjustable reach are great features. The seats can be slid forward or rearward, but require removing the seat and loosening 4 hex head bolts on the bottom of the lower rails to change their position. This is a pain when the occupants are radically different in height, but both want to take turns driving. The seats are placed low in the car, lowering the center of gravity while providing a good feeling of what the machine is doing underneath you. Storage and towing are provided by a 3-gallon water-resistant glove box that resides on the passenger side, in addition to dual cup holders found in the center console. The rear cargo bed features 300 pounds of capacity and features Polaris' lock and ride system. A rear 1¼ inch hitch receiver allows you to tow an additional 1,500 pounds. Casey Martin showed us what the RZR S was capable of, while the RZR S helped show test rider Jennifer what she was capable of, as she got up the courage to get her first bit of airtime in an off-road vehicle ever. Of the half dozen or so vehicles we've let her ride or drive, this is the first she was asking to take out and drive again. Guys, if you want to get your lady into off-roading, here's your ticket. If you ride wooded trails not restricted to 50 inches in width, the RZR S delivers nearly the perfect balance of performance and drivability. While the RZR S may no longer set the standard for side-by-side performance, it's still one of the most well-rounded sport UTVs on the market, and the price of the base model we tested continues to offer performance for the dollar that keeps it in a class by itself. For more information on the RZR S or Polaris' full line of side-by-sides and ATVs, log on to Polaris.com.